Welcome to Connected Unify 1. This is the first in our superset-based workouts. We're going to be doing 3 supersets, pairings of exercises done for 4 rounds of 40 seconds on with 20 seconds of rest in transition. This is going to really build up some local muscular endurance and strength. As we've done this, Connecting Unify is about pairing this strength exercise with some ground-based exercise that is meant to release some of that tension, bringing you back to center and bringing you ready in state for the next round. All right, so before we get started, we're always going to prime our bodies for what's to come. We're going to do this by seating ourselves down on the ground to start. So sit down, knees up, shoulder width. Go ahead and grab on a hold right below your kneecaps. Pull your spine long, sit bones down to the ground, stack your shoulders on top of your seat, and lengthen your crown and neck up to the ceiling. From here, we're going to soften the knees, lengthen them out just a little bit. Okay? Reach with the hands forward, tuck the tailbone under, and see where your tipping point is. As you tuck your tailbone under, try to find yourself right around your belt line. From here, reverse back up to seated, tailbone down, lengthen the crown up. Exhale, tuck the tailbone under. Inhale, recover that tailbone down. Really separate the tailbone from the hamstrings. Be able to lengthen that out. Last one, third time's the charm. And sit up tall, tailbone down. So we're arching our tailbone down towards the ground. We're going to be doing the same thing as we transition to our second drill. Let's go ahead and get to our hands and knees, quadrupedal. And now we're going to extend our legs back into a plank. I'm going to push my hands through the ground, spreading my shoulder blades apart. Continue pushing down through the ground as we lift that tailbone up and back. So rather than tailbone toward the ground, tailbone up to the sky. Soften those knees, pull our body forward, head in front of hands, push our hands through the ground constantly. Push the hands up through the ground, tailbone up and back, lifting that tailbone up to the sky, soften the knees, keep pushing the hands through the ground. Maintain that push through the ground as you pull your body forward, spread the shoulder blades apart. Third time's the charm, really lift that tailbone, those hips as high as you can, tailbone to the sky, and pull yourself forward, spreading those shoulder blades apart. From here, go ahead and bring your knees down. You're going to bring your left shin across your body in front of you. Right leg folds behind that into this position we call a shin box. Left shin in front, right shin to the side. Point the right toes back. Left hand reaches back behind you. Fingers point away from your hips, 45 degrees out and back towards the back left corner of the room. Roll the shoulder back on that left side. Reach up with the hips, driving those hips up by pushing down with the left hand and right shin. Reach up and back with the right hand, releasing the front line of the body. Come right back down, roll the shoulder back, drive the hips up, and reach up and over. Third time's the charm. Shoulder back, hips up, release that front line up and over, and recover. We're going to use our hands behind us, switch our feet position. Right shin in front of you, left shin out to the side. Point the left toe back, right shoulder rolls back as the right hand reaches down to the ground, fingertips pointing back into the right. Left elbow to ribs, drive the hips up, shoulder back and down, reach up and over for 1. Recover back down, same thing. Shoulder back, hips up, reach up and back for 2. Third time's the charm. Shoulder back, hips up, reach for 3. All right, we got our body to start moving in different ways, stabilizing, developing strength and stability for our midline. And we're going to challenge that with our pairings of exercise. Supersets are 2 exercises, usually done back to back. In this case, 40 seconds of work, 20 seconds of rest as we transition between exercises. 4 rounds of this first pairing, which is going to be the combination of a press, a forward press, and a table position. Really working on the shoulder girdle. We're going to stick with Larry for this first round. So you guys and gal, go ahead and grab your club of choice. Make sure you have that in a position you're ready to work. And we're gonna start round one of our presses in 5. Here we go in 3, 2, 1, and work. All right, Larry's working this basic front press, and trust me, there's not much basic about it. There's tons of work that's happening here as he's working towards stabilizing and balancing that club upright as he rings the neck of that club, keeping the shoulder blades down and back and ribs down on the front line. Switch grips, switch sides. We're gonna be doing 20 seconds per side per grip. Notice the top hand dictates the side that the club is on. So left hand is top, left side is where the club finds home. 10 seconds to go. Ring that neck back. And now we're keeping this head, shoulders, hips all stabilized. Soft knees, keeping that tailbone tucked under, making sure those shoulders stay back and engaged. Time. All right, club down. Make sure your club is off to the side because your body weight exercise is gonna require some clear space. Our body weight exercise here as we pair with the press is gonna be the table, really working on that shoulder girdle. So everybody's down, ready in 5. Make sure your position is prepped and ready. 3, 2, 1, and work. So Larry did a great job. Our preparation for work is just as important as the work itself. He had his hands down, fingers pointing out to each side of the room, shoulders rolled back and down, keeping that shoulder girdle biased into external rotation, opening the chest before we open the hips, really working on driving halfway through, driving those hips up by driving the knees down towards the toes. That lengthens the front line and keeps that extension from coming from your low back. 10 seconds to go, team. Really finishing strong, opening your body in these specific ranges. 3, 2, 1, time. Okay, 1 round down in this superset sequence. The second round, I'm gonna hang out with Mr. Savage back here. I think that's officially his last name these days. 10 seconds before we start our press again. So get your club ready and in hand in 5. Here we go in 3, 2, 1, and work. The lever press. So now what we see here with this lever press or this angled press is that he's levering the club up and out at 45. The club is levered back towards his head at around 45. All the while he's avoiding arching his back. He's keeping the ribs down on the front of his body. No arching the back. Switch grip, switch hands. Switch grip, switch sides, I should say. Left hand on top, left side dominant. Left side is where the club lives. 10 seconds to go. Keeping that nice levered position, keeping those ribs down, hips sunk under, making sure not to arch back even though the body is telling him to do so. Time, good work. Club down into the side. Now in our table series, Leo's gonna be doing a tripod. This is gonna add some rotation and hips are gonna stay flat, torso is gonna rotate. 10 seconds, nice and easy. Ready in 5, nice and prepped. 3, 2, 1, and work. So still focusing on the external rotation bias of that down arm. Before he lifts his hips, he's rolling that shoulder back and down, setting that shoulder, and then lifting the hips, reaching up through this hand by pushing down hard into the base hand. The key is that, focus first on that, push down hard, rotate the chest towards the side wall, reach in 2 different directions. Halfway there already, team. As he does that, then the next focal point is the hip. This hip on the side that's down wants to stay down, and you want it to be flat, measurably flat with the opposite hip. Almost there, 5 more seconds, 1 more quality rep coming. Stack the shoulders, hips square, time. Good work. So lots to go about being focused on those little technical details, but that's where the money is. That's where the return on investment is. 10 seconds, we're gonna go back into our press series, so get your club ready. 5 seconds, here we go in 3, 2, 1, and work. All right, Carolyn's working our rotational press. And this rotational press is really important to realize that we're not letting her hips rotate freely, it's just her torso rotating. And even that can be really confusing. Thinking about her sternum and pressing towards her sternum, where that points, is the limiting factor. Switch grips, switch sides. So again, we're gonna control the hip, make sure the hip doesn't go with the rotation of the torso, and the club is gonna press directly in line with her center towards whatever angle she can rotate to without moving her hips. This is gonna create a ton of torsional resistance in the obliques, ton of work there, time. Beautiful, beautiful work. Already down with 3 rounds of our press. Now for our table. Table's gonna be fun over here. We have our swinging tripod. fork, Miss Carolyn. She's gonna be working from a squat position. 5 seconds. Here we go in 3, 2, 1, and work. So as she hits her tripod, she's reaching forward into a squat, recovering, and back to her tripod position. This is gonna take a lot more control. So she has to control her descent. She shouldn't be falling back into her tripod. She is reaching and engaging the ground, maintaining control and tension in those hips. Halfway through the round, the feet are staying in contact, staying stable. The front line has to coordinate this movement, making sure she doesn't fall down, that she can ease her way down, using her hand gradually engaging the ground, recovering, and then up into the tripod, pushing and reaching with the opposite hand to recover into the squat. Time. 3 rounds down, 4th and final round for our press table superset. Everybody should be feeling the shoulder girdles really fired up right now. So 10 seconds, we're gonna get into our 4th and final round here. I'm gonna check on everybody around here and see how they're doing. 5, here we go in 3, 2, 1, and work. Look at that proud chest. That's what we're reinforcing. Powerful postures, good breathing mechanics. Open chest is a big part of that. We want to strengthen not only our muscles, but our posture. 10 seconds in, looking good. Same thing here, Leo's keeping that chest proud, really working on the angle of his press up and out. Halfway, switch grip, switch sides. Keeping those hips tucked under, making sure the front line is engaged, no arching of the low back. Looking strong. Carolyn's got that rotation, keeping those hips stable, rotating the torso, ringing the club, and pressing towards her heart center, that sternum. 5 seconds to go. Last rep coming up. And time. Table or tripods are next. Table or tripods. 15 seconds. Shake out any tension you have in the hands and wrists. The ground is also here to relieve some of the tension that you have in your hands from the clubs. So here we go in 5. Good setup. 3, 2, 1, and go. Look at the rotation of Larry's shoulders, pinching back, active mid-back, proud chest. Not arching his back as he presses up, but flattened on the front line. Really making sure to drive those knees towards you, away from his head. 15 seconds in already. Leo's sitting down between his reps. Good, look at that. Nice, beautiful stack. Reset your arms. One hand stacked on top of the other, both hips as square as possible at that top of the range of the tripod. Carolyn's got all this control. Look at that, sweeping, recovering that squat, reaching back, stacking those shoulders. You see a lot of similar moves between hers and Leo's. The big difference is that middle transition. And time. Good, beautiful work, beautiful work. Shake it out, get up, shake it out. We're gonna talk a little bit about what our next superset is. So our next superset is the combination of a shouldered squat. The club is laying on your shoulder. Levels 1, 2, and 3 variations there, is that's gonna combine with a sit-through, which is a ground-based exercise where your low body is gonna rotate through and your upper body is gonna look like it's drawing a bow, pushing the ground down, drawing the opposite elbow back away from that base of support. So grab the club of your choice, whether you have one or multiples at home. Know which one you want to use for this pairing of exercises, because we're getting started with our shoulder squat in 5. Here we go in 3, 2, 1, and work. All right, Larry's working on this nice configuration. Look, he's sighting down the barrel of the club. I always think about this like the little green army men toys that we'd had and the bazooka guy, right? So he's looking down the sight of the bazooka and he's gonna aim it straight forward. His torso is gonna stay relatively upright. His knees are tracking his toes. Halfway, switch grip, switch sides. And this upright torso means that we're gonna ask the knees to travel slightly forward and his spine to stay in an extended bias, upright, not arched, but nice and integrated, straight, long, strong spinal position. Time. Great, great, great. From our shoulder squat, we have our sit through. And with Larry, he's gonna be looking at just his knee coming through on the sit through, focusing on that upper body mechanic of drawing the bow. 10 seconds, go ahead and get set up. Here we go in 5, 3, 2, 1, and work. So he's gonna hook the knee that pokes through. That's the knees rotating away from, so he's pushing that knee through his underbody to the opposite side. Now, as he does that, the hand pushes down into the ground. Push down actively. Drive that elbow up. Good. Push those two things apart. Push the floor further away from you. Beautiful. The harder he pushes down, the more he pulls that elbow up and back. Create distance from hand to elbow, like drawing a bow. Looking good, team. 10 seconds to go on this series. Pivoting through, rotating the shoulders to stack and pull apart. Last repetition coming up. And time. Great work on that sit-through knee. Level 2, hanging out with the Savage One. On his shoulder squat, he's going to be working a little bit more of a dynamic exercise, popping the club off his shoulder, catching it with absorption of the lower body. Ready in 5. Here we go in 3, 2, 1, and work. So he's going to use those legs, accelerate the club head off of his shoulder, catch it softly with the legs, like catching a water balloon with his whole body, absorbing the force of that initial impact. He doesn't feel the club hit his shoulder because he's using his whole body to absorb that force. Beautiful. Switch sides. Good. Switch grips, switch sides. Notice the rhythmic tempo of this exercise. Up, down, 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 up. You want to find a nice rhythm where you can make sure you find that even tempo through the practice of this application. Time. Good. Shoulder squat down. Sit through is next. Now Leo's going to take what we saw with Larry and extend the leg through the sit through. It's going to increase the lever length. 10 seconds. Go ahead and get ready. We're going to start the action in 5. Here we go in 3, 2, 1, and work. Beautiful. So as he pushes that floor away, he's drawing this top elbow back. The leg kicks through straight to the side. He's driving those elbows apart from the base hand. Kicking through, no rush, really focus on stability. How strong can he push the floor away from him in this stacked position with rotation? Halfway through the round already, as you start feeling a little loose, a little more alive, you're going to want to increase your tempo. The goal here is to make sure we can try to find an even tempo through all 4 rounds. So work a pace you can hold. Work a pace you can hold. Stay in second gear. Second or third gear is the highest I want you to be in. Time. Great work. Great work. 2 rounds down for this superset. Third round, I'm going to be over here. I'm going to pick on the technical one here. I'm going to see if I can find something to pick on at least. I don't know. All right. Back to the shoulder squat, 5 seconds. Let's work on getting that shoulder squat prep ready and go. Here we go. We have rotation through the torso. Hips are still really trying to control the knees, okay? So as she rotates this way, notice the left knee still tracks the toe. This is super important. She looks this way, the left knee wants to drive in, she's tracking it out. Switch grips, switch sides. We're gonna highlight that again. She rotates this way. This knee really wants to do what, Carolyn? Show me. The knee wants to drift in. See, she's gotta push it back out. Go ahead and do that again. Keep it out, good. Keep it out. So much of the work, even though the torso is where we're having rotation, so much of the rotational stability is coming from this hip, controlling this knee. And time. Great work, great work. Down for your sit-through exercise. Down for your sit-through exercise. It's gonna be pretty dynamic over here. We're gonna add a bridge. So we're gonna work here, this beautiful sit-through with a bridge. Ready in 5. Here we go. 3, 2, 1, and work. So what you see here with Carolyn, she's doing the same side kick through with the leg. Kick through, drive the hips up. Using this back leg as a stable base and that front hand that's still on the ground, those are her 2 primary points of contact for stability. She drives the hips up, stacking the top hand directly over that base hand, reaching toward the sky, past the halfway mark now. Driving those hips up, using that back foot almost like a squat or a leg press, right? Bridging up, really getting that front line engaged with rotation, with stability of that down shoulder. Reaching up to the sky with that free hand. Time. Good job. 3 down, 1 to go in this superset of shoulder squat to sit through. Let's see where everybody's at. I'm gonna hang with Mr. Larry for a while, come back to the Savage One and check on Carolyn and make sure she's still executing with technical detail. 5 seconds. Ready in 3, 2, 1, and work. Beautiful, Larry. Still upright torso, those thighs, I think they've warmed up. they're allowing him greater range, greater execution. He's still aiming that bazooka straight ahead. 10 seconds. Good, beautiful. Look at that rhythmic execution. Pop and drop it, pop it, drop it, lock it, and halfway through. Good job, good job. I don't know if this is how Leo gets down on the dance floor, but if he does, I'm gonna give him his space, okay? All right, Carolyn, she's got this rotated torso, adding rotational tension, not only through her upper body, but through her lower body, stabilizing, controlling for 5 more seconds. I think you got 1 more rep in you. And time. Good work, good work. Last one of this pairing is the sit-through, 4th and final round. Okay, everybody's already ready and eager. Look at that. They're getting down on the ground. Making sure to spread those elbows away from that base hand. Ready in 5. Here we go in 3, 2, 1, and work. There you go. Hook that knee. Good. Hip stack, shoulder stack. Pull that elbow back. Push that base hand down. Push that shoulder down away from your ear every time. How far can you get that shoulder to go down away from the ear? Pushing the ground away from your ears is what you want to do. Halfway there, halfway there. Beautiful, Leo. All that big, long leg kick through, lengthening the levers, working hard to control rotation even as you lengthen the levers. Same thing here. Look at that technical stop at the end of lengthening and then bridging. Adding that stop to a great hip extension is that what happens at level 3. Time. All right, that's it for that superset pair. That's it. Get up, shake it out, take a quick breather. What we have next are swings paired with froggies, okay? If you have yet to experience the full power of froggy, then this is where you get it right here. 4 rounds of froggy fun. And if it looks a little odd, don't worry. You'll see exactly where all the power of this series is as you go through this superset. All right, I've given them enough time to catch their breath. Hopefully you as well. Grab the club of your choice for your swing. Club of choice for swing. We're gonna get ready in 5, 3, 2, 1, and work. All right, Larry has a set swing. His job is to really reinforce the back swing position. If he overreaches, next one, overreach. Good. If he overreaches, he's going to flex his spine and get inverted. We really want to avoid that. We're going to keep that backswing controlled, keep the chest up, hips down. Switch grips, switch hands, switch sides. There you go. Here we go. Down, chest up, hips drop. You're going to be sitting down and back a little bit into this to make sure you do not get inverted and you do not round and flex your spine. That set position down there with the club resting at that angle is super important for you to understand where that end range position is. Time. All right, that's your swing. Time to get froggy with it. All right, now Larry's got the rocking frog. He is rocking the frog out for this next 40-second work set. 10 seconds. We're gonna have his knees spread open, his toes dug into the ground, active in the lower body. Ready in 3, 2, 1, and work. Good, so you notice he is getting inverted. His hips are relatively stable. I want him pushing into those toes, dig into those toes, spread those knees apart actively. There you go. Now I see the tensional bias I want to see. Just because his lower body isn't lifting and moving doesn't mean I don't want it working, because at level 2, he's going to really have to engage there. Halfway through this round already. Now, level 1 has a level 1.5. So let's just ask Larry to do 1.5. Let's lift those knees just a little off the ground, spread the knees apart as you rock forward. He might do 2 or 3 of these at a time and then rest the knees down and rock in the more traditional sense, level 1. Building up the tolerance and capacity for level 2. Time. All right, so level 1 has that level 1.5 drill that's really important to prepare Larry to be able to do the savage style work that Leo's doing over here. He's catching his breath. Got 10 seconds. We have our swings again. Swings. Ready in 3, 2, 1, and work. So where Larry had the set swing where he stopped in the back position, Leo doesn't have that hard stop. He is touching the hot stove back there with the tip of his club and driving the hips forward into full extension. Pushing his knuckles out, lengthening his arms as he continues to keep his shoulders back is important. Halfway, switch grip, switch sides. There we go. Continuous swings. There's no rest here, right? And I'd argue that the static position isn't much of a rest either, but there's a lot of repetitions happening here, one after the other. Look at the rhythmic tempo. 5 more seconds. Nice and smooth, long drive, hip extension, time. Good job. That's it for the swing. Let's get the club off to the side. Froggy's next. Froggy, now this is a flat frog. So Leo's hips are gonna be off the ground, and knees are gonna be off the ground, hips up. And we're gonna try to have a nice tabletop approach. Ready in 5. Here we go in 3, 2, 1, and work. Good. So hands and knees stay about a hand width apart from each other. The knees flare out as he presses his body close to the ground. His heart tries to land right in between his thumb and forefinger. He's bringing his sternum down to that point. That means his head is forward of his hands, his knees flare open, his hips try to get close to the ground. Halfway there. If I was to place a glass of water on his back, theoretically, we're trying to keep this nice flat table position of the spine. 10 seconds to go. 10 seconds to go. I think he's feeling froggy. I can feel he's ready to hop right out of his skin here. 3 seconds. One more rep. Time. All right. A little froggy break. A little froggy break. We're going to go ahead and come over here. Level 3, swings to frogs. Third round of this superset starts in 10 seconds. So grab the club of your choice. And Carolyn's going to have a rotational swing. So outside leg swing. Ready in 3, 2, 1, and go. Now, even though it's an outside leg swing, not rotational, there's a ton of rotational stability that we really want to be focused on. Because she's in a narrow stance, her body really wants to twist to make this easier. She's really fighting to keep her shoulder square, hips square as she continues to swing. Switch sides. Look at that, nice switch at the top. She just hands the club gently over to the opposite hand, not breaking her rhythm and moving into that opposite side. Still controlling rotation through her body. Shoulder square, hip square, long spine, long arm, shoulder girdle, strong and engaged, packed down and tied into the rest of her body. Time. All right, good job for the swings. Last but not least, we have our frogs. Frogs. Now, Carolyn's going to be working a lower body dominant variation of the frog, so it's going to be a lot of fun for those legs. Ready in 5. Here we go in 3, 2, 1, and go. So you saw where everybody else was down in a quadrupedal position to start, Carolyn started in a low squat, and she terminates her reps in that low squat. She's low squat, hands down, kicks back into a froggy, does that frog press from level 2, and then finds herself back up into the squat. I call this a low frog sprawl. Low because she doesn't get to stand up. And you think, well, the standing might be more work, but no, actually staying down here close to the ground in a compressed position is a ton of work for your legs and thighs. 10 seconds to go. And the upper body's still getting plenty of action here as well. So keep it going, 5 seconds, 5 seconds. You're almost there, Carolyn. I promise you're almost done. Last froggy. And time. Well, I said last froggy. I'm not so sure it's the last froggy of the workout, but it was the last froggy of that set. We have our 4th and final round of swings and froggies coming your way, coming their way in about 10 seconds. Actually, a little bit less, 5 seconds. Oh my gosh, I can feel it coming on. 3, 2, 1, and work. Swing, bada, 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 swing. There you go, set swing every time. Chest out, chest strong. Really in that athletic ready position, drive those hips, drive the feet down through the ground to extend that club head out to the swing. Leo looks straight and dominates over here. You see those eyes? You got the eyes on the prize. Halfway, switch grip, switch sides. Good. Keep those eyes on the prize, Leo. You got it. Hips back, hips forward, driving that club all the way through full extension. And Carolyn's controlling rotation by swinging outside of her relatively narrow stance there. Shoulder square, hip square. Excellent job. One more rep and time. Great job, great job. Clubs down. A little harder to handle them after you get pretty sweaty. So guess what? Good thing is, don't have to worry about that. Down to the ground, all you got to worry about is handling your own body weight for the frog series. Getting ready in 5. Here we go in 3, 2, 1, and work. Give me that 1.5. Give me that 1.5. You're going to mix in those 1.5s with your level 1s as you see fit. 2 to 3 reps at a time. Beautiful, Larry. Nice. See, working the knees out. And you see that knee out variation still here with Leo. Look at how much his knees get to flare to get his torso and his hips close to the ground. Elbows down and back, out and back. Knees flare out to absorb that force with the adductors. Great. Carolyn's working right into that same froggy in the down position, but up into that low squat. Thumbs up, 7 up. Is she still smiling, y'all? I can't see her from my angle right now. Is there a smile coming up? she's still smiling. Darn it. And time. All right, good job, everybody. Stand up, shake it out. Hey, these supersets, they call them super for a reason, right? They are super effective at building muscular endurance and strength. I'm sure you feel that right now. Don't go away. Stay tuned. Let's cool you down.